What the fuck is going on, everybody? It's your boy Micro. We're gonna be looking at some stocks today, so that way we can maybe make some money. We could pay for your Valentine's Day dinner, and you can get some penocha or something like that. So we're starting out with, of course, one of the chip names that has been a little bit shaky, if you couldn't tell by the chart. Nonetheless, has had incredible recovery and is currently on trend. We're looking at AMD. This is a higher time frame, so this is the 1 hour chart. And as you could see, all of these levels pretty much respected super well at that. This 166 area is a big level of support for us, as is this 168.60 level. As we, continue to make all-time highs, the market continues to push higher, and we see bigger names like AMD also start to push a little bit more, right? That's a big sign for continuation, so long as we end up breaking levels, holding levels, and not rejecting levels. So as you could see, this 178 level played a very vital role in us pushing back down to under this 160 area. What was this? About this 160 area, rather. We came back up to it. We absolutely broke above heavily on this 178 area, but inevitably we ended up coming down, right? Just a higher low, though. Nothing insane, nothing crazy. But we did end up coming down off of this rejection. So, with that being said, what am I looking for? I'm currently looking for a close over this 172.80 in order for us to be pushed back up to this 175.60 area, 176 area, a break above that. Realistically, this 177.28 level is also just kind of like a point of confidence, right? You see here where we ended up getting bought up around this level to be pushed higher. When we broke through, we fell down, etc. We rejected it, fell. When we fell through again, etc. So this 177.28 level is an area that I'm looking for either to short or to break in order for us to have continuation to the upside. Now, this 180.58 level, 180 just being a psych number in general, we do have, obviously, we're going to have a lot of sell orders here, right? People are going to take profit at these specific levels just because usually we don't know how things tend to react at these specific levels. If people continue to buy or if people decide to sell is entirely up to the trend of the market and the health of the market, right? So I'm looking for a maximum level of this 180 for my take profit. Above that, obviously, I would love to see this 185 get broken and us continue to push higher, right? However, I do think that this may be our max, but if it does break, we will see a violent move to this 185 area. But a break below this, what is this, 170 area? Again, another, whole number. It's a psych level. Below this, I would love to see this 168, and below that, I would love to see this 166 level. Then obviously continuing below that, this 164.30. So that's kind of what I'm looking for on AMD. Nothing crazy. Again, it's currently on a trend. If we continue to hold this trend, I do think that we end up breaking this 180 into this 185. However, this 180 would be my max take profit. Of course, we have to talk about one of the bigger companies when it comes to crypto, Coinbase, right? Everybody knows Coinbase. Everybody loves Coinbase. I don't. Fuck Coinbase. They make everything super difficult for me. Nonetheless, with Bitcoin's strength, especially pushing towards that 50K area, we saw a massive recovery on this name. Me and some of my friends entered some of the 130 calls around Tuesday or Wednesday, I believe. And I ended up selling on Thursday for a 209% profit. However, these ended up going like 2,500%. I think they ended up trading at like $1,000 on Friday. And my entry was 40 or $50. So again, with Bitcoin's strength, obviously Coinbase is going to react to that, right? Whether Coinbase is strong or weak, Coinbase is really what you want to, or I'm sorry, if Bitcoin is strong or weak, you really want to watch Coinbase, as obviously it's going to move with it, right? So what am I looking for? This 143.76 area is a very tough level for us, right? When we do break above, we see a very violent move up. When we break down below, we see a very violent move to the downside. So currently, we rejected this area. However, we are consolidating above the 140 area. Now, if that 140 area doesn't hold, I'd love to see this 138 down into this 135. And this 135, I would really like to see hold, because if not, then I do think that we end up going back down to about this 125 area. That's just my opinion, my general thoughts on it. However, if we do decide to break to the upside, I would love to see a 150 touch. 150 would probably be one of the bigger take profits. But, you know, we can obviously always see higher too. With Bitcoin pushing, we can obviously see this 155, 160 area. If we do end up getting to this 160 area, however, I do think that we end up rejecting again. I don't think that we end up pushing higher from this. And again, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. If we end up rejecting all up here, and then we end up coming back to it again up here, wherever it is, down here, you know, right here, wherever it is, then I do think that we see another big rejection here. And if we do, then I would love to short it down, right? It just makes the most sense to me. So currently, I would just like to see this 143.76 area, 144 area break and hold in order for us to have that continuation up into this 150 range. Above this 150 range, I see 155.43. And then above that, I do see that 160. So that's all that I'm really looking for on Coinbase. Nothing less, nothing more than a simple break of some resistance and maybe even a simple break of some supports. Next on our list is ARM. Now, we ended up hitting the 75 calls for next week's expiry at 320. They ended up taking a very big dip, actually. I think they went down to like around 200. However, because I knew they had earnings coming up and because I knew the strength of the overall market was towards the upside, I decided to hold. Now, did I take profit at, 100%? Of course I did. I only took 5 contracts. I ended up selling 4 right before ER, and then I held 1 into ER. It went from 320 to about 3,000 each. So, basically, I mean, this is all-time highs. You know what I mean? We're in price discovery mode, everything in between. We've talked about all of these psych levels, how they need to hold in order for us to have continuation, etc. And ARM did not disappoint on that. ARM ended up taking a relatively big dip on Friday, right at open, basically. And this dip was actually one of the bigger gifts of the day that we unfortunately did not play. However, hindsight's always 2020. Now looking back, it would have been the perfect entry so long as it held above 100, in which it did. The low of this candle was 102.09. So long as we continue to hold above this 100 level, we should continue to see new highs, right? It's the only thing that really makes sense. Or we see, some downside coming down into that 100, and we play off of that psych level, whether it be to the downside or to the upside. So what am I looking for here? Obviously, as you can see, we built some support down here within this general area. Let me also expand this. Whoops. As you can see, we made some type of general support down here at this 91 area. And this 91 area was actually during earnings. So people buying off of this level, especially when it pressed to all-time highs, is very huge, right? That just goes to show you that there's a lot of support behind the stock, and there are eager investors who want to get in on the action and not really miss anything, right? So then we have, let me actually exit out of this. Then we have this area here. And obviously, I'm just going to put this here. Where else? There. Cool. So basically, realistically, what I'd be looking for is a continuous hold above this 108 level, 110 level, in order for us to have continued upside. However, if we do end up breaking this 108 level, I do expect us to have a big retracement, probably back down to this 102, 100 area. As again, this is all-time highs. We're in price discovery mode. Investors kind of have to find their footing and try to figure out, where they want to buy, where they want to sell, etc. And also, it always, always, always depends on the overall health of the market, right? Again, we continue to make all-time highs. We continue to go into price discovery mode. So these things can continue to go up and up and up and up and not see downside for quite a bit. And if they do end up seeing downside, it's not going to be something that is extremely heavy. So basically what I'm looking for is this 108.80 level to hold. If this level does not hold, I'd love to see 107 hold. If 107 does not hold, I'd love to see a retest of this 100 level. If we do end up breaking to the upside, I would like to see a break of this 117.87, 120 area. Then from that 120 area, this 122.30 area, that 122.30 area into that 124 area, and then up to that 125 and a break of all-time highs. That's what I'd be looking for to the upside. If we do end up breaking below 100, I would love to see this level right here, this 97.43. I would love to see this level hold, as obviously you can see we broke down through it. We held it here, and we ended up holding it here in order for us to push to all-time highs. If we do end up breaking it, I would love to see, honestly, this 94, 95 level. And after that, this 91 level. So that's kind of all that I'm looking for on ARM. Excuse all the lines down here. But that's all that I'm really looking for, is a break above this 117 area in order for us to possibly attain new all-time highs. A break below this 108 level, I'm looking for this 100 level. That's really, it's literally that clear cut and dry for ARM in its current state. We got one of my new favorites, IWM. So we ended up playing some calls on this, I believe, either last week or 2 weeks ago. Some of the setups actually failed intraday, unfortunately. However, we did end up having a good play on this. Nonetheless, I think that it might be either ready to break out or ready to reject heavily, right? As you could see, we're coming up to a very important level, that being a big psych level as well. That 200 level, I mean, it only makes sense that we might reject here, or we might get a really big break to the upside here, right? So honestly, all that I'm looking for, by the way, this 197.12 right here is one of the biggest and best levels that I have ever played off of on any single stock. When we broke this level, it was an easy short. When we broke back above, it's an easy long. So this 197.12 level, I'm just giving you some friendly advice, non-financial advice, is probably one of the biggest and best levels that you can add to your IWM chart, especially on a higher time frame. I mean, it just is absolutely insane. Anyway, moving on, we ended up holding above this 198.64 level. And I would love to see this either get retested again, us consolidate here for a push-up, or I would love to see a break below this in order for us to retest this 197.12 for some easy longs, right? And then an hourly close below this, obviously, I would take shorts. I mean, it's kind of that simple for me. This 197 break, as I mentioned a multitude of times in the Discord, as I was kind of guiding everybody on this trade, ended up taking us down to this 191.21 area. And we ended up, reclaiming, bouncing, creating a trend, and going up from there. So realistically, that's all that I'm really looking for, is either a 200 break and hold or a 200 reject in order for us to come back down to this 198.60 area. This 198.60 area breaks, I would love to see this 197.12. 197.12 to 194.86. If that 200 does break, however, if we do end up breaking to the upside, then, 201 is in the cards, and above that, 201.30, and then here would probably be one of my max take profits would be at this 201.72 level. If we do end up continuously going up, eventually we should reach this 204, or this 204 level, and that would inevitably be my max take profit, unless, again, the market allows us to continue to go up. However, IWM doesn't really react well, or in unison, rather, with the entirety of the market for some reason. But nonetheless, that's all that I'm really looking for on IWM. 197.12, remember that. Now we got everybody's favorite online drop shipping business. Spotify, imagine. Shopify. We have Shopify here. This was a layup of a play that I unfortunately did not have any alerts for in order for me to take, but it was a layup of a play. I mean, we created an inverse head and shoulders here in order for us to be pushed higher, right? This 84.31 area was massive. It was a massive area of resistance, and that area of resistance ended up turning support, and we fucking blasted off from there. So I am looking for either this 92, 93 area to reject or break in order for us to continue higher. However, I am looking for this 87.46 area to once again be retested and hold. If that does hold, then I do think that we end up breaking this 93 level and we end up pushing higher. However, if we do break down below again, I would love to see a retest of this 84.31 area. It only makes sense for me, as this was a big point of rejection for us. We should see a retest of this level. But that's kind of honestly all that I'm looking for on Shopify. I'm not really looking for anything else. I will have to. Why don't we just find some levels real quick? We'll go to a higher time frame. Go to the 4 hour. We'll zoom out. Yeah, as you can see, we just have a multitude of the consolidation and some building, right? This 92 or 93 level, rather, once that breaks, I would genuinely like to see this 95 area. I think that makes a lot of sense for us. And I would love to see this 96.50 area break. This 96.50 area breaks, I do think that we go up to try and test 100 and maybe break it even. Who knows? But for the time being, where are we, dude? We're all the way over here. For the time being, this is just what I'd like to see, is a break of this 93, hold. That 93 should put us into this 95.60 area, this 95.60 area to this 96.50 area, going all the way up to 100. If not, I would love to see a retest of this 87.46, a break below that, this 84.31. And then below that, I mean, 82, 83, and 81, realistically. That's what I'd like to see to the downside. So that's kind of all that I'm looking for on Shopify. Nothing insane, but we may get a relatively healthy and strong move. Now, the last one on our list is Meta. So after an amazing ER, absolutely incredible ER at that, for Meta with, I think, like $8 billion free cash flow, they ended up ripping, right? We ended up seeing a massive move to the upside. We ended up seeing all-time highs, I believe, at around this 500 level. We peaked at 485, so just right below 486, 485.98. So with that, obviously, we came into a downtrend. We popped up, and now we've been consolidating within this specific area. And I mean, honestly, it looks like it could continue to go higher, right? If we do break below this 465.67, then I do think that we, retest this 463 area, 462 area, and then potentially this 460 area, right? I mean, it kind of just makes a lot of sense to retest these levels if we do end up going back down to the downside. If we end up going back down to the downside. Below that, I see 458 on the cards, and then potentially this 455, 456 level. Now, if we do end up breaking to the upside, we would need a very clean break of this 472.15. We would need to retest and hold above, consolidate, preferably, and break back over this 474.15. Now, I think this right here, this level would be a trigger for us to go long into this 477 area, 478 area. Above that, I would like to see this 479.50 area, basically 480, right? That's kind of what I would like to see. A break above that 480, I believe, sends us either back to this 486 level, or it breaks us higher, pushing us towards that 500 level. So as you can see, again, just a ton of consolidation within this range, this 468 to 472 range. There's a ton of consolidation here. So I would like to see this range break in either way for us to play either way. So yeah, it's kind of all that I'm looking for on meta. Nothing super crazy. Obviously, below this 450, I would expect us to retest this 448.54 level precisely. And if we end up breaking that, we should break down a lot more and start to build support and find levels within this area. So anything above 400 basically is what I'm looking for. If we end up breaking down to the downside below this 448.65 level, that's really all that I'm looking for if we do end up coming down here, right? Now, if we do end up coming down to this 452.72 and we consolidate again and we end up seeing more buying pressure, then I think that we just continue to push back into this area yet again. So this is going to be a massive trigger for us, however, is this 474.27 or 474 area just in general. I think this will be a big trigger for us to end up breaking out to the upside.